Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great episode of CK Stories from the Heart. I'm your host, Charles King. Today on CK Stories from the Heart, we welcome a man whose journey reflects courage, transformation, and purpose. Born in Incirlik Air Force Base in Adana, Turkey, Davy L. Knight grew up as a military child, constantly moving, constantly adapting, and constantly learning how to rebuild himself in new places. Oklahoma became the place where his life truly took shape, where he found love, built family, and stepped into the man he was always meant to be. He is an honor roll student, a dedicated volunteer in suicide prevention work, and a future forensic psychologist with a heart for service, justice, and community healing. But above all, Davy L is a man of faith, resilience, and purpose. His story is layered, powerful, and deeply human. And today, he's here to share it with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Davy L to the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I am outstanding as usual, and I am well anticipating this wonderful show because I'm sure that you've got a lot of things that you could teach our audience.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous, but I'm ready for it.
So, is there anything you want to say to the audience before we get into the show?
Um, first, first and foremost, I just want to say I'm very honored, and I give all glory and honor to God to be able to have this platform to tell and share my story and how it can help and give encouragement to others.
Yes, sir. Let's jump right into it because, as we start with your wonderful story, I like for people to get the opportunity to know who Davy L was before Davy L got to be who he is right now at this point. So, like growing up as a military child and constantly moving and adapting,
Yes.
how do you think that shaped the man you eventually became?
I would definitely have to say it teaches you to adapt. Um, Constantly moving every 2.5 to 3 years. You got to learn new school, new church, new community. Um, it was very hard to be able to adapt at first, but after time came on, you were I was able to adapt quicker than my siblings. Um, I was kind of quiet at first, but I was a sports person. I played basketball. So I was the one that stepped out quicker because I had to learn how to be a teammate and things like that.
Oh wow. So and in doing that, I mean, so what was the importance of sports and was sports like an intricate part of your life that you felt you were more attached to that had you to be the young man that you are today?
I was the facilitator. I was the point guard. Um, I would read the defense to see what kind of play we needed to run. So I've always had the desire to lead, but I was always one of the ones that wanted to be in the background. But by my dad and my mom being in the church, me and my siblings, we were involved in church a lot. And so that also gave me the outlook on how to be a good leader, watching my dad preach, watching my mom run her own daycare business in the home. So I had a lot of mentors throughout my life, but I can truly say moving to Oklahoma is where I've grown the most.
So when you look back at your childhood, what moments or lessons stand out as foundational to who you are today?
I can remember when I was one who had trouble reading, and I used to get made fun of all the time because I couldn't pronounce certain words. And so I ended up doing the Hooked on Phonics. And back then, I saw it as a target for people to make fun of me or make me feel less than. But now I look back and I thank God that my mom and dad had that look to say, hey, we can't help, so we're gonna go ahead and do this hooked on phonics. And now like I'm excelling. I'm in my master's program. I can read very well, and so it's gotten better over the years. But I would have to say, just looking at the things that I thought hindered my life in the past, now I'm looking back, and it was actually part of my foundation of where I'm at.
Yeah, so you've lived in many places, but
Hmm.
Oklahoma became home.
Yes,
What did Oklahoma give you that nowhere else did?
I can say it gave me my purpose. Um, when I moved here, I was not myself. I moved here quickly. My grandma had passed away, and I was looking for a fresh start. And so I came out here on another job, and I ended up not progressing like I expected. So I had a come to Jesus meeting, and I ended up going to the Job Corps here in Guthrie. And I got my security license, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go back to school. And going back to school, I started working and I ended up meeting my wife. And I can definitely say that she has been my ride or die. She has put up and been through so much, and I would never have it any other way. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to speak in public and just prosper like I have been. Like, I really appreciate the love that she showed me, even in the good, the bad, the ugly. And so I really commend her for sticking by my side and my daughter. And so without them, I really feel that I would probably be in a grave or jail. So I really, really thank God that I moved here to Oklahoma.
We've got a couple of comments here in the chat. You're more than
Okay.
welcome to respond to these. The first one here, I'll put it on the screen. Leon Silverton says, "Hey,"
Hey, how you doing?
and then I'm not sure what language this is, but I'm sure that's supposed to be hello.
Okay. Hello there.
so let's move to your identity and transition. Before we get into that,
Mhm.
would you like to give us that lead in as to the for the transition? How did that take place, and what was that about?
Okay, so well, first I grew up knowing that I was different. And so it's always been one of those things for me to um always be authentic, always want to be the one no matter what the situation was, no matter what I was going through or how people felt, I was always going to be myself. And when I moved here to Oklahoma in 2010, well, I moved here in 2006, but in 2010, life hit. And I felt like there was no one in the world, not even God, could save me. And so I decided to attempt suicide. But by the grace of God, He allowed me to survive that. And ever since that day, I've asked God to, because of that, let me do anything and everything that I can to not only help others, but anybody who may be going through a transition, whether that be gay, straight, transgendered, it doesn't matter. Um, Everybody goes through life. But if you are here and you woke up this morning, God has a purpose for your life. And so for me, realizing that no matter what others said, no matter what even family and friends might have said, what matters is I'm maintaining my authenticity, and God covers me in every step of my way.
Mm. So you've spoken openly about your journey as a transgender man.
Correct.
When did you first begin to understand your identity in a way that felt true to you?
I would have to say like a couple years ago. It's always been a battle for me because I grew up in the church and because I know what the Bible says and what I was taught. But also, the Bible talks about being in God's image. And I learned that man's image is not God's image. Man's image feels like it's a picture that you see. And God's image, he looks at the heart. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you view another person. God looks at your heart. And over the past couple years, I've been battling with, okay, I'm transgendered, but I love God. I love people and I want to make a difference. And I felt that because I had that burden on my back of you're transgendered, you can't do this, you can't be this, you can't be that. I had to pray and ask God to show me and help me realize what my purpose is, not only for me, but how my story and what I've endured can help other people who might be in the same situation. And I just thank God that every day it gets easier every day. And it doesn't matter for me, like if somebody were to question my way of life or question my purpose in life or question my relationship with God. And those are things that I had to pray about and study about and really think about. Okay, God, you put me in this position for a reason. And as long as He gets all the glory and honor and praise in my life and what I speak on and what I believe in, I'm okay with that.
Wow. So then when just when this came to be with your transition, were
Mhm.
you getting like some pushback or some negative feedback, negative connotations from people that just didn't understand, that caused
Yes.
you maybe a little bit more of like a depression or something, or were you able to just accept this and keep moving because you knew what you wanted to be?
In the beginning, it was uh, I want to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't about how I felt on the inside or how I wanted to move. I just wanted to be accepted, whatever that looked like, whether that been on Facebook, within my family, work, whatever case it was. I just wanted to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized once I accepted myself and I surrounded people who loved and cared for me for who I was and what I stood for, it became easier to, okay, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way, but Jesus loves you and God's going to forever love you. And that's just the mentality that I've came up with. Yes, people are going to be offended. Yes, people are going to see me and say, well, you can't do this or how can you take those questions to God, because as God is the one that I'm doing this for. Like he brought me back to life when I thought I was worthless, when my family wasn't there, when friends wasn't there. Only God brought me through this. And I feel like if there's somebody else out there that feels like because of their lifestyle or because of how they live their life, that God doesn't love them and he doesn't care and he can't use them, they're sadly mistaken. God can use anything and everything. He created it.
So for our audience,
Mhm.
and there's probably some younger people that are facing the same identity crisis, that society is putting on them as they did to yourself. What are
Yes.
some wisdom and some encouragement and some things that you can tell them about how to get through those kind of situations?
Well, I think the hardest thing would be is even finding that one person that you trust. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I started off writing poetry. I would write my thoughts down. I still write poetry till this day. it's always been the best way for me to get my feelings out with not only letting others view them, but also pouring my heart out to God. Because a lot of people feel like when you live a certain lifestyle or you're going through certain things that God doesn't hear you or you don't have the right mindset to pray. And so I just write. And so that's one of the number one things that I would suggest to any young person, any adult. Um, write your thoughts down and read them over. Give them to God. I remember when I used to go through therapy, my therapist would tell me, "Go ahead and write your thoughts down, and then tear it up and flush it." Certain
Okay.
things, yeah, certain things, yes, that did work at times,
Mhm.
but sometimes you need that reminder um, of where you were. So when you go to where you're going, you're like, wow. Like till this day, I have a handwritten note um, that I did like 3 or 4 years ago, and I still have it here at my desk. It's right here, and it says, "Be your own authentic self."
Yes.
And I
Yes.
wrote that. I wrote that 4 years ago, and when I moved, and I was setting up my desk area, and I saw that, and I really feel that I'm living up to that. And even though my relationships with family members and friends who don't agree are not where I would like them to be, all I can do is pray that God touches their heart and they see me for me, not who they portray me as, but who I really am and who God says I am.
Wow. So, despite all of these things, and you're able to be as resilient as possible,
Mhm.
you've overcome all of those negative obstacles, and you still are a person that's actually working out in the community and helping people right now to this day. Tell us, how did you get to that point, and how are you able to maintain and sustain that kind of work for people in the community?
Well, for me, like I feel a lot of people, they will listen to you and they will give you their opinion, but it's nothing like when you've experienced what they're going through or what they're experiencing now. I've experienced homelessness. I've experienced having to live in a shelter and not knowing where my next meal is coming. I've experienced those things. So whenever I have the opportunity to give back, or whenever I see someone, in need of a meal, I don't mind, sharing that because I wish people, that I had that when I was going through that and I didn't. Um, so that's one way that I do that. And then I also like to pour into like my daughter, and because they're the next generation. And so for me, I try and instill in her what I didn't have growing up so that she could be the change in the narrative in my history and in her side and her mom's history as well. So it's just one of those things where I try to um, keep an open mind, make myself aware that times are always going to change, and don't feel like this is it. Always push forward to there's another level, and never feel like you can learn it on your own or you're going to make it through on your own. God made us to where we're always going to need a community, and once you have your community, it's everybody's job to uplift each other, because somebody's going to go through something one time or another, and we never know. I might be the next one, somebody else might be the next one, but you got to be able to come in as a community and uplift those, whether they look like you or not, whether they live like you or not. um, God doesn't show judgment. Like that's one thing that we shouldn't do is judge. And so because I've been subjected to judgment um, a lot of my life, I know how it feels. And so I would hate for anyone to feel like because they've been judged, their life is over. because they've been judged, that there's nothing that they can't come back on top of.
Wow. So like in that situation, I mean, because that right there shows just how much strength you got.
Hmm.
And like there are a lot of people, especially a lot of these young kids that don't have that kind of strength.
Hmm.
What does it take in order for them to, that what do you think it would take for a lot of folk that are struggling with that to get that resolve that you have? Because I think it's that kind of resolve that actually elevates you and bring you to
Hmm.
that being
I
who you
agree.
are.
I would have to say self confidence and self esteem.
Mm.
I tell my daughter all the time, like, look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself that you're beautiful. Tell yourself that you're going to have a good day. Don't allow your surroundings or your situation predict how your day is going to be. Speak that in your mind. Say, look in the mirror and see your lips moving to those words. Because the more that you build your self confidence, you might, not feel like getting out of the bed. Get out of the bed and make it. That's a step. Like normally, you just lay in the bed and you're dwindling in your own sorrow. Just get out of the bed and make it, and then look at, oh, I got out of the bed and I made it. Next step, go in there, get yourself looking good, put a nice outfit on. What? Like build your own confidence. Do not wait for somebody else to
Oh
build your
wow.
confidence.
Mm.
You got to be strong enough to say, you know what? I do matter. I'm going to become who God wants me to be, and start speaking life into yourself, because not all the time you're going to have that person or that message or somebody right there a phone call away to speak life into you. Sometimes you're gonna have to speak life into yourself. And so I would say look in the mirror, and that's the best way to start speaking life into yourself.
I'm going to tell you this because this means so much to me. As I listen to you, I hear not only the passion in your voice, I hear the strength in your voice, but I also hear the caring and the loving part of you in your
Thank you.
voice. When I want you to do me this one favor, if you would, please,
Okay.
if it's not too much to ask. I want you to look into the camera.
Hmm.
And can you I want you to help some of these people that are still struggling with understanding that they can't control people's lives and people are going to be happy the
Okay.
way they are and what they're going to be. Can you tell them why they should understand that everybody's not the same?
Okay. I can say definitely if everybody was the same, then the world would be definitely boring. um, I try and keep an open mind. That's the first thing. Like if you start, like I said, speaking life into yourself and you keep an open mind, you'll notice that your surroundings will start becoming more positive. The people you want to be around will start becoming more positive. They'll be speaking life into you and you'll be speaking life into them. So I would definitely say having that support system and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and always have that open mind. Always be aware of who you're speaking to, because something that I had to learn, and something close with family, um I always wondered, okay, you guys are my family, but I'm getting the most hurt from you guys from not accepting. And so I had to realize, even though me coming out was life changing, it was also life changing for them. And so I had to realize I had to give them time, just like it took me time to even open up. And so, for anybody else who's out there who feels like their family doesn't understand, or a close relative, or anybody that they really look up to is not understanding or not being there for you, you also got to realize that it's a life changing experience for them too. So give them grace just like God gives us grace. You also got to realize that something that I had to realize is being called my biological name. And so that was something that I had to. It bothered me at first, but after a while, I got used to it, and I just made it out of the game. And so, like when I would be called outside of my name, I'd be like, "Who? Who's that? Who are you talking to?" And it didn't bother me because I realized that whoever that was, they're still working on it. They're still trying to make that transfer. So everybody's acceptance is gonna be different. The length of time that it's gonna take them to accept, like
Mhm.
till this day, um, that I've been out since 2010, and till this day, I still have um, issues with my parents and my family. And I get it because I mean I'm 42 years old. So a lot of people know me as a certain way and now it's changed. And so I have to realize that yes, I want, acceptance and change and want to be accepted, but I also have to know that everybody's choice is not going to be my choice. Everybody's opinion is not going to be what I think. And so, just like I have to respect their decision and their choices, they have to do the same. And again, everybody is going to come around when they come around. And some won't and some will, but you have to not do this because it looks good or you're trying to fit in. If this is your life, live your life to the fullest. Do not step away from living life because you feel like somebody's going to judge you or you feel like somebody's going to stop you from being who you are. If you have breath in your lungs, God still has a purpose for your heart.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. So, what part of your transition, emotionally, spiritually, or socially, surprised you the most?
I would have to say social because, like I said, growing up in the church and knowing the lifestyle that I was living, it wasn't accepted at all. So I had problems being social with others. I always thought that they were looking at me or they didn't want to be my friend. But now, since I've got my community and my family surrounding me and love and support, I would have to say that it's definitely social because now, like, I can speak, I can talk about it. Like, there was no way in the world that you would get me to talk about my transition, and even face to face. Even when I would get questioned, I would lie about it because I wasn't content with myself. But now, socially, I'm getting too old to care about what people think. I'm getting too old to maintain a profile that others think I should keep. It's time to do what God has called me to do and be a light for others. And if that means being loud and being social and spreading love and care for others, that's what I'm going to do because not everybody has that support. I didn't have that support in the beginning. So I want to be that support for others.
I love that. And it's that attitude, that personality, that thing about you is that thing that's doing what it does. And with this making you and this being you, so how do did your preparations for the day, as you mentioned before, when you wake up in the morning, did your preparations change as you got more comfortable? What was happening as you were more in acceptance of you and loving you that much more? Tell us how that went.
Well, like I said, a couple years ago, I rededicated my life back to Christ. And I started going to Rock City Church Online, which is, this is his merch, it's Pastor Mike McClure. And he changed my life. Like when I say that I would be at work listening to his messages, taking notes, applying it to my life, because that was something that I was really, really struggling with. Like knowing that this is how I'm feeling, and this man was able to break it down. You about to make me cry.
Don't cry.
This man was able to break down the Bible to where I could understand it and realize that who God has called me to be has nothing to do with my outer appearance. It has to do with my heart and the purpose of making people better and realizing that you don't have to be the same. You don't have to live life how others, because I guarantee you, the way certain people live their life and expose their life, that's just the surface. They don't show you the downside of it. There was nights that I cried. There was nights that I felt like I wasn't worth anything, that God was mad at me because of what other people told me. But even in those times, God was with me. And I know that if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be in no master's program right now, about to graduate. I wouldn't be invited to honored societies because of my grades. Like, just me putting God first and realizing that He's the reason why I'm here. He's the reason why I wake up every morning. He's the reason why I'm able to even speak to you guys today. Like, once I was able to put God first and realize that, life became easier. Someone called me a name. Oh, God bless you. Do you want me to pray for you? You must be angry about something. Like, I channel everything differently now. When somebody, well, how can you be transgender and love God? Because God doesn't judge. He loves
Oh,
everybody, no matter how you look, no matter what you've done in the past. God loves you and He can use everything. And so once I read my Bible and started watching Pastor Mike, and it just became like a go to. It used to, when I would get down and depressed, I would isolate, I would seclude, I would shut down. Now it's opening my Bible. Now it's trying to watch a motivational speaker. Like, I channel all of that differently. So I definitely would have to say me giving my life back to Christ and finding a church that was able to break down the Bible and the word like my pastor has. It's tremendously helped me. Like, I know for a fact that the way I talk, the way I instill in other people, my leadership quality, like, I was always wanting to be in the background, but now I find myself, what, I want to be up front. I want people to hear what I have to say because I have a word, and it's a good word. It's nothing negative. I live positive, and I try to surround myself with positive. And if you can't be a positive person, I will pray for you. If you feel worthless, I will pray for you because I've been in those places. So I know how that feels.
wow. You know, when I think about, the emotional part of what you just mentioned, I think the cruelty of people, there's nothing like it. There's nothing that can change it. But when
Mhm.
you just think about it, it makes you wonder, why are some people so cruel?
Yep.
But your response and your answer and your being present today rebukes that. And it just shows not only how minute, but how unresponsive that is. But that negative energy is what we can push all the way off to the side.
Yep.
Because I thank God for giving me the opportunity to create such a platform like this, is because it's that created safe space that
Yes.
people have to be allowed to not only be who they are, but to say the things that they mean and their intentions. Your intentions are one that I've got to tell you. that I more than just love the work that you're doing, but I mean, as you're now a part of the family, I want to tell you that, I mean, we're not done, but I just want to tell you that I hope that there's going to be more and more opportunities that you get where you get to come here and you again get to help more and more people, because I'm more than sure that what you're talking about today is helping an enormous amount of people.
I hope
But
so. I pray that. I really hope that because, like I said before, when I was going through it, like because of the background that I had, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to talk to, but because of the suicide attempt that I had, and I had to go to a crisis center, I had to do the homework. I had to get that community around me to see what's really going on. And so that's another reason why I chose to be a forensic psychologist, because it deals with the mind. It deals with emotions and behavior and trauma. And so for me, why not have a degree in passion in something that I love? Um, I would hate for another person in the community or even across the world to experience this and not make it out. So if I could be that therapist or that psychologist that changes people's perspective on transgendered or on mental health, like I want to do that. Like I want to leave a legacy for something positive. I want to be known for something positive and the love I have for others. Like I've always been told that I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I took that as a weakness at first. But now I see that as an opportunity to show others how to wear their heart on their sleeve. Forget about what you're going through, but think about the right now and what's in front of you, because God, He does not just make things happen just because or by coincidence. A lot of times it's by divine intervention, and
yep.
you never know who's going to bring you that message. You never know who's going to give you that word to take you to that next level. So you always got to keep that open mind, no matter who the voice is coming from, no matter who that person is. It could be somebody that you can't stand. But if it's coming from God, keep that open heart and mind to receive it, because it could change your life.
How has your identity shaped the way you move through the world, especially in spaces that aren't always welcoming or understanding?
I do my homework first. Um, I kind of get an idea of what they stand for, whether that be a mission statement or their history, their background. Um, because something that I've learned, I don't want to be a part of something that I don't stand for. Um, so that's why, like the honor societies and stuff, that I stand for the leadership one. I also got nominated to join the International Honor Society of Psychology this past week as well. Um, so it's one of those things where now I try and channel my leadership. And so, in order to channel my leadership, I think that helping others is the best way for me to do that, especially in the things that I've been through, having the military background. Like I have so many stories. Like life has really been lifing with me. I can truly say that, and it's an honor and it's like a relief to get my story out there. It really is, because now I know that I didn't go through this for nothing. Like I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. I used to say, God, why me? God, why me? But now I'm saying, what else, God? What you got? Me, pick me, pick me.
Um, so what does living in your truth mean to you today compared to what it meant years ago?
I'm not afraid. Um, I used to be afraid of people's reactions. I used to be afraid of how are they going to look at me now? I used to be afraid of, did I do well or did I do something and now they know? Now I don't care. I have a word, and you can receive my word how I am or not, but I'm going to give the word. And as long as God's got me, I know he's always going to come out on top. And that's my ultimate goal. Like, like I said, at my church, our thing is to love God, love people, and make a difference. And I really, really stand by that, however that looks like.
Let's move over to your love, family, and support. You describe your wife as your favorite woman in the world.
Yes,
How has her support influenced your growth and confidence as a man?
man. I can say that when me and her first met, I was still in a dark place, and she has been my light through the dark ever since. Um, the nights that I thought I had nobody, the nights that I thought I didn't belong or people didn't care, she was there. She encouraged me when I lost jobs, when I didn't get picked for a job, when I was just in bad shape, and she's never left. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, family, no family, house, no house, car, no car. It doesn't matter. And like without her or my daughter, there wouldn't be me. Like they have truly shown me what a family is all about. It's not, and I've learned from over the years, family is not always blood. Family is not always what you look like. And I can say, meeting my wife and my having my daughter, like the people that she has exposed me to has truly shown me what love is and what a community is. And even my family and friends on Facebook, like even the support there has been tremendous, even though I haven't been on there because of school and me just trying to grow, not only um, as a leader, but I'm really trying to dive into what's next after school. So like I really have a real strong support system. There's few and far in between that can say a bad word about me. And I truly appreciate like the love that people have shown me, even when they felt some type of way. Like I've always been one to try and encourage and uplift others. And so with my family, like if it wasn't for them showing me that, I wouldn't know how to show it. Like I know how to be more compassionate, even my empathy, and just knowing how to be a dad and a husband. Like they really have shown me a lot with that as well.
So, as a father
Hmm.
to your child and your fur babies, how has family changed your sense of responsibility and purpose?
Okay, well, being a girl dad and a teenager, that's one in itself, because she wants to start dating and stuff, and in my eyes there's nobody good enough for her. And so like just battling with her with that, and then my dogs, they keep me young, running around and stuff. um and so like there's nothing, when if I think of family, I think of my wife, my daughter, and my dogs. I never leave them out. So it's one of those things where if I got it or if I'm looking at it, I, babe, where you at? Where's the dogs? So it's one of those things where like being a dad, it's amazing. Being a husband is better than I ever thought it would be. And never, don't ever let anybody say your dogs can't be considered your children, because I consider my dogs my children.
What does um what does a safe, affirming home environment look like for you, and how do you help create that for your family?
I would have to say just having positivity, whether that be affirmations or positive words, like something that I've done with my wife and my daughter. We've had sticky notes where we've written um, positive things, whether we feel like that about each other or we feel that way about ourselves, and just stick it. And when we feel a certain way, just go in there, look at the wall. Look, this is how you might feel this now, but this is who you are. Um, I do my daily bread every morning. I do a lot of reading of my Bible because I can say that is the only book that has been around so long but catches the most flack on its authenticity. So I definitely read a lot of the Bible, um, just to stay strong in what God says, and because at the end of the day, He created all of us. So I just try and stay in my word, um, keep positivity in the house. Yes, we have our falling outs. Yes, we have our bad days. But at the end of the day, we come back hugging and loving on each other.
So let's talk a little bit about your education and academic excellence.
Okay.
You're an honor roll student with a deep passion for learning. What
Mhm.
drives your academic discipline and commitment?
I just love to learn new things. Like, I've always growing up, I was always the one. What's this? What does this do? Can I press this button? What happens if I do this? What happens if, to the point where they'd be like, stop asking questions. And so, like, even now, I love to learn. Whether anything that I don't know, I don't mind learning it. Whether that be car, whether that be about politics, whether it be about how to shoot pool, whatever the case is, like, I love to learn anything that's gonna help me elevate somebody else, because I might meet somebody who having a mental breakdown and likes to shoot pool. Then we could go shoot some pool and I might be able to calm them down. So I never close the door on anything. And so I just try to stay well rounded because I never know who I'm going to come in contact with. I used to work at the county jail, and I worked on the mental health floor. And so there was days that there were good days, there were bad days. But it's at the end of the day, it was how I left them, knowing that they were cared about and were taken care of. And so I would definitely say that just being able to instill and knowing that I help somebody, that's I would definitely have to say, as far as my academics, that's what I would have to say.
So, can you tell us why the choice psychology?
Like I said earlier, I've always liked how the mind worked, and my mind's always going. And so, because my mind's always going, like, I've always been into how the mind works. And so I feel a lot of mental health comes from people not understanding their mind and not understanding why they feel certain things. And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go in this field, because not only will I be able to learn about myself and my mind and my feelings, but I'll also be able to help others channel whatever their anger is, or if they feel depressed, whatever the case may be. And it's just me wanting to be able to experience things and then be able to channel to help other people, because like I said, most people, they'll listen to you, but if you haven't experienced it or been where they've been, they'll just take it with a grain of salt. But if you've been in there and you've experienced certain life changing experiences or things like that, they're more willing to understand and pay attention to your advice.
So, how has your educational journey helped you to understand yourself, not just the world around you?
I would have to say that there's so much more. Like, I felt that what I was learning was it. But now that I've expanded my horizon as far as my education, I've realized that there's so much more that I could contribute to. not just in that as a psychologist. Like within my community, um, me and my wife are trying to create a nonprofit for the homeless. And so that's just something that I've been looking into as well, is trying to start my own nonprofit for homelessness. And eventually I want to do my own practice where I could give like mental health assessments for free. And so that, because a lot of times you have to pay for those things. And so I feel money is a thing for a lot of people, that it's cheaper to turn to alcohol and drugs and stuff to medicate. But a lot of times, talking to a therapist and having the right people to talk to would be the best thing.
Let's talk about your faith, purpose, and your future vision.
Mhm.
You credit your journey to your faith. How has your relationship with God guided you through your most difficult seasons?
I could definitely say every time that I wanted to give up, and I say every time because it's been more than once. Um, and that's something that I feel like I'm always going to struggle with. And so just trusting God's process, trusting that whatever God is asking me to do, there's a reason. I might not know it now, I might not see the evidence of the reason now, but as long as I'm trusting in God, I know that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and he's going to reveal to me the purpose of why he put me in the position that I'm
Wow. So that transcends over into my next question.
in. Okay.
When you think about your purpose, not your
Mhm,
career,
mhm.
but your purpose, what do you believe you were put here to do?
Bring people who are considered to be outcasts to Christ. Like the ones, like people wouldn't think that God's children will look like me and you. Everybody has their own little stereotype. And for me, anybody can love and be God's child. God loves us all. He wants to see everyone do good. You just have to be willing and surround yourself with that positivity to know that no matter what you did, it's where you're going and how you want to leave that legacy, whether it be for family, friends. Just trust God's process and he'll do everything else.
Well, you got a comment here from Antoinette Bell, and you can
Okay.
answer this. I'll put it on the screen. She says, good afternoon, happy blessed Sunday to you. I hope you have a wonderful one and definitely on purpose."
Thank you, Mama Bell. That's one of my Facebook family friends on my wife's side. But yeah, um, I appreciate that. She's one that's always an uplifting person. Her and Dominique and William, and there's a whole bunch of them. But um, like I said, I just haven't been on there a lot because I've learned that when you add more to your plate, it gives you less to work on yourself. And so less distractions mean more growth. And so that's how I've been doing it, is just trying to get away from distractions and continue to grow and get where I need to be so that when I do come out, I'm becoming.
So, you dream of opening a nonprofit and a private
Hmm.
forensic psychology practice.
Hmm.
What impact do you hope those spaces will have on the communities you serve?
For the nonprofit, I hope that more nonprofits are created from it. Like there's a lot of homeless people in the Oklahoma City area. Like there's a lot. And so, and it's not always their fault. It's one way or another, life happened and then they got stuck, and everybody deserves a second chance. And so, just with that, having that nonprofit, I think that will open the door for other homeless people around to say, hey, there is somebody who really cares. you know what, he touched my heart when he did this. And so I just want it to be passed on. Like I want to leave something for my daughter where she can feel like she can help, even when me and her mom are gone. And so even with my practice, like I said, there's a lot of people who don't have health insurance. There's a lot of people who can't afford it, but they do have mental health, or they do need certain test assessments done, but they can't afford it. And I want to be that one where I can assist with that with no cost. And so it's just one of those things where I gotta get with the right people and know the right people. But I know God willing, it's gonna come when I least expect it. But I'm ready for it. And so it's just one of those things.
So, can you tell us how far along are you, and when is the projected date that you do open your practice?
Well, I haven't set any type of date because I haven't like dived into it as far as like where. Um, right now, I'm just working on the names, and um, I would have to say at least within the year or two, because I graduate next year, and so
Okay.
there's a lot of licensing and stuff like that that I have to um, adhere of. So there's some legal things there, but I would say probably within the next couple of years.
Okay. And finally, if someone listening today is struggling with identity, acceptance, or purpose,
Hmm.
what message would you want them to hear from you, from your heart?
Um, you're loved, whether that's if you don't hear from your parents, if you don't hear from your siblings, friends, you are loved. And I'm speaking from experience and from my heart. You matter. God has purpose for you. Don't feel like this is it. This is the end of your life. This is how your life is supposed to be. It's not. Trust God. Continue to push forward. Be your authentic self, and God will provide.
So, in closing, what are some? Do you have some words of wisdom and encouragement you'd like to leave for our audience? Tell them how they can connect with you via social media, your website, however.
Well, I will get back to my Facebook page. I haven't been over there in months, so you can check out my Facebook page. It's called Day Night Minded. I normally do scriptures and different poetry and some media type things. Um, but also just God hears you. God hears you. No matter what your situation is, if you think your surroundings are too loud or it's too quiet, he hears you. Don't ever think that you're not being heard, and just stay faithful to yourself and to God, and he'll take care of the rest. And it's been a joy being on here, and I hope something that I spoke on touches someone close, someone far. I just hope that it reflects somebody's life to a positive way.
Well, yes, and I'm sure that it does because there's like hold on, there's another comment there that's here in the chat. Let's see. Well, before I get to my closing, actually, there's two. Um, one is from Antoinette. She says, "God loves us unconditionally,"
Yep.
and this one is from another one from Antoinette. She says, "Yes, get back on over there. We miss you over there, and you and Jamie. Or is that
Yeah,
Jamie?
that's my wife, Jamie.
Okay." So in closing, I've got a closing monologue that I'm going to close the show with. But before I close, I want to ask, do you have a couple of minutes after I close the show?
Mhm.
So in closing, I want to thank each and every individual that's been here with us today, that's listened to Daviel's story, because this story is more than just of importance and significance. It's the impact of actually overcoming and showing resilience. This is what we're here for. For those of you that are watching on all of our channels, if you have not yet subscribed to any of our YouTube channels, I ask if you would please support us by subscribing and enabling all notifications so that every time we do go live, especially here every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll be able to watch the show where you just have to click and watch. You'll also be able to go back and watch each and every episode that we've recorded, whether it's CK Stories from the Heart or American Black and White, and you're able to watch all of those shows. So in closing, Daviel, your story is a testament to resilience, faith, and the power of becoming. You remind us that identity is not limitation, it is a calling. That service is not a duty, it is a gift. And that purpose is not found, it is lived. Thank you for sharing your truth, your heart, and your journey with us today. Your voice matters, your work matters, and your presence in this world matters. This has been CK Stories from the Heart. I'm your host, Charles King, and we'll see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah,
Thank you.